came so many years ago, just a small part of the philosophy was introduced for them to follow. So it was what was required at that time for those people. And maybe that religion hangs around for a while, but eventually, after hundreds or thousands of years, it will disappear. So that's what I would tell someone like you who believes in Hinduism. But if someone from another religion is asking me, I would be more diplomatic about it, because that would be insulting to them, and it's not like they're going to say, oh, really? It's like that? Okay, why don't I become Hindu, right? The opposite effect would happen. They would have a negative reaction. So I would say something more like, Hinduism is the most ancient religion on earth. That no even scholars can't argue with that. It is the most ancient religion on earth. And when I'm talking to a Hindu, I'll say it's not just ancient, it's eternal.
Okay, so next would be Pranam Didal from Columbus. I would like you to stand and ask your question to Director Didu Swamiji.
What happens when you die? Where does the soul go?
Good question. There are 4 possibilities where the soul can go. You have to pay close attention, okay? So one possibility is to be reborn here on this earth. This is called Mrityu Lok. This earth, so it could be as a human, could be as another species. All the species that are alive have souls. So if we do bad actions, we could be born in another species instead of being born as human right away. So that's one option. Then we have a better option and a worse option than that. So other than Mrityu Lok, there's also something called, pay attention, there's also something called Swarg Lok. This would be called heaven in English. And then there's also something called Narak Lok. It's called hell in English. So if you do a lot of good actions, you can be rewarded and go to Swarg. Just like Gita says, Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam chirne punye martyalokam vishanti. So you get a temporary reward in Swarg. But as you're in Swarg enjoying all the pleasures due to your good actions, you're using up your good actions, kind of like spending money. And when that's used up, you come back. Martyalokam vishanti. Vishanti means to return. So you come back here in this world. And the same thing would happen if you went to Narak. If you did a lot of bad actions, Narak is like a jail, spiritual jail. So you go and serve your sentence in Narak, and then you're released and you come back here. So these 3 we've been to uncountable times because we've lived unlimited lifetimes. So we've all been to Swarg infinite times, and we've all been to Narak infinite times. So those are 3 options. Mrityulok, Swarg, or Narak. The 4th option is the best option. If you surrender wholeheartedly to God with 100% faith, your mind gets joined with God, then when you leave your body, you go to His divine world, which is beyond even Swarg. It's a big difference between Christianity and Hinduism. Christianity's philosophy only goes as far as heaven, Swarg. But Hindu philosophy says heaven, hell, and Mrityulok are all part of Maya. So when the universe is dissolved, even Swarg and Narak, everything is dissolved. And the only thing that's left is God's divine abode. So souls who surrender to God enter the divine abode of God, and they can experience God there in the divine abode. So there's your 4 options. When you die, divine abode, Divyalok. There's specific names like Vaikunt, Golok, Param Vyom, Param Dham, all these names. So Divyalok, Swargalok, Mrityulok, Naraklok. Lok means world or abode. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
next,
Pratibha has a question.
okay, so anyone from Pittsburgh, you will be next, okay? Anyone from Pittsburgh?
मेरी क्वेश्चन आपसे हिंदी से है क्योंकि मेरी चौपाई 2 लाइन हिंदी से ही है। पहले आप पहचानो रे साधु, पहले आप पहचानो रे साधु, बिना आप पहचाने कौन कहे मैं जानूं। मुझे आशा है कि आपको मेरी चौपाई समझ में आ गई होगी।
I think so, लेकिन आप बताइए पहले।
पहले आप जानो रे साधु,
हाँ।
पहले आप जानो रे
नहीं,
साधु।
आप इसका
नहीं,
अनुवाद कीजिए।
नहीं, ये मेरी चौपाई है और
हाँ।
मैं आपको इससे क्वेश्चन पूछने वाली हूँ। मुझे आशा है कि आप इसका आंसर देंगे।
हाँ।
फिर मैं आपको एक बार बोलना चाहती हूँ।
ठीक है।
पहले आप पहचानो रे साधु, पहले आप पहचानो रे साधु, बिना आप चैने, बिना आप जीने अपने आप को कैसे कहे मैं जानूं। और मेरी क्वेश्चन है, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कहाँ से आई हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कहाँ से आई हूँ, मेरी आत्मा कहाँ से आई है, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कहाँ से आई हूँ, मेरी आत्मा कहाँ से आई है और मेरे आत्मा के धनी कौन है, ये मैं कैसे जानूं।
ये बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न है। So I'll answer in English so everybody can
Yeah,
understand.
sure.
Okay. So she's asking, who am I? मैं कौन हूँ? मैं कहाँ से आया हूँ? Means where did I come from? And what was the मेरा धन?
मेरा धनी, मेरा गढ़ कहाँ पे है?
मेरा क्या?
गढ़, मेरा आत्मा का गढ़।
Who is the owner? Okay. So who am I? The answer is you are the soul. So we talked about the 3 tattvas: God, souls, Maya. So each one of us is an infinitesimal divine soul. That's your true identity. So you're not the body. आप जब शीशे में देखते हैं कि ये मैं हूँ, ये गलत है, ये आपका घर है, आप इस घर के अंदर रहते हैं. So you are the soul. That's how we answer the first question. Who am I? Second question, where did I come from? You didn't come from anywhere because you're eternal. So just like this Srishti keeps happening, goes out from God, gets dissolved in God, goes out from God, gets dissolved in God. When Srishti happens, souls go out and they live in the world. When Pralay happens, they're stored within God. So where did you come from? You've been in this cycle forever of Srishti and Pralay. The only way out of it is if you attain God, you go to the divine world. And who is your owner? God.
वो मैं कैसे जानूं?
Sadhana se.
ये सत्य योग तो नहीं है जो मैं ध्यान करके हमेशा ध्यान करती रहूं और मैं अपने गॉड को जानूं, वो ये युग नहीं है।
सही बात है।
तो मैं कैसे जानूं ये युग में?
फिर भी आप 10, 15, 30 मिनट डेली तो निकाल सकती हैं और साधना कर सकती हैं। बिना साधना किए अनुभव हो ही नहीं सकता। You
But
have.
she's saying it's not Satyug, so that's not possible. So
No, I'm saying you can do 5, 15, 30 minutes in a day.
Even in this Yug, Kali Yuga
So
also.
in Kali Yuga, you can at least practice some every day.
मन में क्या लेके करूं मैं?
Bhagwan. The easiest sadhana
किसका नाम
is
लो? शिव, राम, लक्ष्मण, हनुमान।
कोई भी रूप जो आपको अच्छा लगता है। भगवान के अनंत रूप हैं. God has unlimited forms. Whatever form is the easiest for you to see in your mind, do dhyan of that. And do kirtan with your dhyan.
So I would like to request other to have an opportunity for other questions. So
Yeah.
please limit your question.
जब मैं आँख बंद करती हूँ तो जो ड्राइंग करते हुए जो वहाँ पे कृष्णा राधा जी उसको ही देखती हूँ, पर मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि गढ़ कैसे देखते हैं, तो मैं कैसे ध्यान करूँ?
So she's saying she's only seen pictures of Radha Krishna, for example. So when she tries to think of them in her mind, how does she know that's the right form she's imagining? The thing is, God is gracious. So if your intention is, I want to think of Radha Krishna, Krishna isn't judging you by, no, you didn't imagine my ear correctly, so you get 0 on your test. No. He says, oh, this soul is trying to think of me, he's going to grace you. It's your intention that matters.
Thank you.
Next in line. Yes. So anyone from Pittsburgh? So you will be next, okay?
Okay, so you said your life is eternal, but why do human beings die?
Because your body is different than your soul. So you live means the soul lives. But the body is part of Maya, so the body has to die. But your soul isn't killed when your body dies. So in the Gita, Krishna says that it's like changing clothes. This body is like clothing for your soul. So just like you change your clothes is no big deal, right? The same thing for your soul. Your soul sheds the body and takes a new body. And it keeps doing it over and over again. So the body was born and will die, but you, the soul, you were never born, so you'll never die.
Alright, so thank you.
Yeah, hello? Okay.
So my dad said all the other languages are formed from one thing.
Can you put your microphone here?
Okay. So my dad said that all the languages are born from one thing. I mean, like.
One language,
Yeah.
Sanskrit.
Yeah, Sanskrit.
Yeah,
Is that true?
yeah. Just like Ved is eternal, Hinduism is eternal, Sanskrit is eternal, because that's the knowledge, the language of the knowledge of Vedas. It's the
Thank
first
you.
language.
So,
Yeah. Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Team Buffalo, please.
Please say your name.
Somehow.
Oh, now, right? Yes, please. Speak loudly. Bring your microphone close to your mouth.
When we look up the oldest religion on Google or any other resources, they get the answer as Jewish. Why doesn't it say Hindu?
Jewish. Wow.
Google is Jewish.
Wow, that's so surprising.
When I was in 6th grade in social studies, I was also taught that. And I even did research on it, and I found that Jewish was, it said that Jewish was the oldest
It's
religion.
about, what, 3,000 years at the most?
I think it was 3,000.
3,000 or maybe 3,500. Yeah. So I think it's just bias. The information is there about Hinduism, but it's not, they don't think it's related to the Western world, so they just don't care.
To them, the world is US and Europe. That's why.
That's right. Okay, he did a search and it says Hinduism.
And it is also those people who have taken that opportunity to insert the information in those websites, right?
Yeah,
That's how much knowledge they have and what kind of expertise they possess at the time. It also depends on that. Okay. Any more
So, any
questions?
can we
Yeah.
please give it to the youth first, and I'll come back to you. Thank you, Krishna. We have someone from Pittsburgh. Is that correct?
Namaskar, Bhim already. So as you just talked
Your
about
name, please.
Bhim already.
Imari.
As you just talked about Divya Dham.
Yes.
So is just going to the temple enough to get to that ultimate Divya Dham?
That can be part of it.
And another is we hear a lot about moksha.
Mhm.
So what is moksha? How do we get there?
Good question. So let me address moksha first. Moksha means liberation from the cycle of being born again and again in this Mayic world. So when I said going to Divyalo, that is also, it includes moksha. Because if you go to the divine world, it means you're free from this world. Moksha means freedom from being born in this world. So how do you get that? Coming to the temple can be part of it, but we shouldn't think that just by, let's say someone says, I'm going to go to the mandir every day and do arti. That doesn't guarantee anything. The whole crux of the matter is, when does the mind become 100% surrendered? So let me give you an extreme example. So, the one who asked the question about Satyug already left. But Dhruv in Satyug, Dhruv, he was only 5 years old, right? So he wanted to meet God face to face, to ask him to help him with something. So he went to the jungle and he was thinking, I'm going to do some sadhana. I didn't know what to do, but along the way, luckily for him, Naraji came and he gave him some instructions. He said, you have to sit and visualize the form. He wanted to meet Vishnu. So he described for him what Vishnu looks like. And he says, keep visualizing this form. And he gave him a mantra with Vishnu's name in it. So he just said, keep chanting his name like this. And keep your mind focused on him. So it took him 6 months to become God realized. So in those 6 months, what was happening was, because Dhruv's mind was in God, his mind was purifying. So he was getting more pure, more pure, more pure. That means his faith was also increasing. Surrender to God was also increasing. So when he got to 100% purity of mind, and that means also 100% faith, 100% surrender in God, then God appeared. That's the rule. That's how it works. Now, Dhruv was so focused, he accomplished that in 6 months. For us, it might take a whole lifetime, or it might take a few lifetimes. So, coming to the mandir is supposed to be part of that. Like, I would go to the mandir where I feel like, okay, I can focus my mind on God. And being in the mandir helps me do that, right? Then while I'm here, my mind's going to purify. But just the act of physically coming to the mandir, that has no spiritual value unless while you're in the mandir, your mind is in God. So mandir is supposed to help you focus your mind on God. But there's no shortcuts. You have to find a way to keep God in your mind. Even throughout the day, you can keep thinking of Krishna, Ram, Shiva, anyone. Just feel they're with me. I'm not alone.
Thank you. Swamiji, you can indicate us if you want to cover other topics or how many questions you want to take.
No, I already covered the main topic I wanted to, so we'll see where the questions
Okay, so next question for new person. All right. Your name, tell your name, where you're from, and next question.
So I'm Yogesh. I live in Arnold.
So my name is Yogesh and I live in Reynoldsburg. So I might have missed something, or I don't know, but like, you described Maya as a state, right? Waiting for something to activate it.
Maya, I described Maya as what?
State. A state, waiting for...
Oh, a seed, yes.
Waiting for something to activate it.
Yeah.
So Maya has to be there for something to activate it, right? So where did Maya came from?
Same answer as where did souls come from? It's been there forever. That's another surprising fact about Maya. People think God is the creator, so he must have created the world. Well, you can say he created the world because he activated Maya, but he did not create Maya, because Maya is pure energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So Maya has been here since eternity. So there's a Ved mantra. Ajamekam lohit shukla krishnam vahvi prajah srijamanam sarupa ajo hyeko jushamano nushete jahatyenam bhukta bhoga majonya. Shvetashvatra Upanishad says there are 3 things that are aj. Remember I used the word aj for souls? No janma. So there's aj, aja. Because Maya is feminine. Sanskrit has masculine and feminine. So Aj for God, Aj for souls, and Aja for Maya. All 3 are eternal. Now God is still supreme. Souls and Maya depend on God. But God is not older than us, and He's not older than Maya.
Dhanyavad Swamiji. As a moderator, I would like to take this opportunity to represent all of you and ask one question, because this is very relevant to you also. So most of Hindu kids, when they go to school in America, the kids from other religion, they sometimes bully them, saying that, hey, we have one God, we have just Jesus, we have just Muhammad. You have so many gods of different shape and size. Some has long nose, some are different color, some has big stomach. So they will always ask to them who you follow and how do you track of it. So can you tell them how they should tackle and how they should answer to other religious folks?
Yeah, I would say that what I would tell them is that Hinduism also only has one God. But God is unlimited in every way. There's no thing where God is limited. So God has unlimited powers, unlimited qualities and characteristics. And because of that, unlimited potential to have unlimited forms. If somebody says, no, how can you say God has a form? If you're putting God in a form, you're limiting him. I say, if you're saying God cannot have a form, you're limiting him. If you're saying God can't have a form, you're the one who's limiting God. Why can't God have a form? We can have a form. God is more powerful than us. Why can't he have a form? So God can have and does have unlimited forms, but it's the same one God. So you can choose which form you want to worship. In other religions, they don't describe the form. Like Muhammad is not a form of God. He was someone who taught about God. But in Muslim religion, there's no description of what God looks like. Same in Christianity. Jesus is not God. Jesus is someone who taught about God. So he taught to worship God, right? But what does God look like? No description. So Hinduism is the only one that goes to that depth, saying, if you just want a description of God formless, that's fine. He is formless also, but he has a form. So Krishna, Ram, Shiva, Durga, these are not imagined forms. These are real forms God has that the ones who have attained God, they've seen with their own eyes. When they surrendered to God, they saw God in that form. So you can meet God face to face. That's something that isn't described in any other religion. If you read through Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, especially in Puranas, there's so many instances of people doing devotion to God. Their heart purifies, they get 100% surrendered, and they meet God face to face. So basically, the short answer would be, God has unlimited powers, so he can have unlimited forms, but it's still only one God. That's a simple way to explain it. Just like you can change your clothes and behave differently. You have that much potential and power. You can look different and behave different. So God has the same potential, but he has unlimited potential. ठीक है?
Yeah, I have some question.
Yeah.
My name is Pradeep, and then I live in Indiana. So my question for you is, like, you have touched based on the how science is related to the Vedas, and then it does have like a scientific basis on it. And then I also see how the theory of relativity and the electromagnetism is related on the Vedas in so many ways. Do you think Vedas is a basis for the scientific inventions? Or
it could be.
Okay.
People there's still some divergence, right, between what our scriptures say and what science says, but I feel like it's getting closer and closer. In many matters, science is discovering things where they realize, at least we know, that was already there in Vedas, right? So if somebody did use Veda as a basis for research, it might speed their research up.
Yeah, that was my question. How can I use the Vedas to do a research, to have a facts?
Yeah, that I don't think I'm qualified to answer because I myself am not a scientist.
Okay, so my other question to follow up on that was why is the person who is studying Vedas from so long time are not the scientists, and then the people from the Western culture have discovered the things that we have already written 5,000 years ago?
Well, a lot of the problem comes from when the British ruled in India. They actually suppressed the greatness of in Bharatiya civilization and culture and scientific discoveries. All of that was lost or suppressed by the British. And as well as just our general understanding of Hindu philosophy got mixed up by the presence of the British, and how they interpreted our scriptures, and then that became the mainstream view of Hinduism, which is even being followed today in textbooks and that type of thing. So you could pretty much put the blame there.
Okay. And then my other question is like Vedas meaning is like a sand, right? So if you could just define Vedas for me, because that's like always unclear.
So Ved currently exists as a scripture written on paper. But during Pralay, it stays inside God in a subtle form. So there's something called Paravarni. Paravarni is sound in its most subtle form. Then there's Madhyama Varni. That's like still not spoken sound but less subtle. And then there's Uchchai Varni, which is what we're speaking now. So there's different levels of Varni. Varni means words or communication. So the Vedas don't have to exist as a written word on a paper. They can exist in that Paravarni form, in a very subtle form, and stay within God during Pralay. And then He gives that knowledge in that subtle form to the rishis on the earth. So they get it kind of like a wireless download, wireless transfer, and they write it down on paper. So Ved means the knowledge. The knowledge is eternal. Obviously, ink on a paper is not eternal, so the books are not eternal.
Okay, so you're saying Vedas are the souls that you're talking about?
No. No, Ved is different than the souls. Souls are called Jeev.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. So next in line, please. I will put you in the next line because you already asked. So I will give you a next new person. Who is the next, please?
Yeah, they have the mic.
My name is Diva Sumagai, and I'm from Papua New York. I don't know if I missed this part during you were talking or not, but was God created?
No, God was never created.
God was never created like an energy. So is God as equal as energy, or as
more?
And energy is equal to God?
No, He's more than energy.
So God can never be destroyed nor be created.
That's right.
Then how can we meet something that can never be created or destroyed even after we surrender ourselves to God?
Great question. The very definition of Brahm, so Brahm, which means God, is defined in Sanskrit as Brihati Bringhayati iti tat param Brahm. So it means Brahm has two meanings. Brihati means what you just said. God is so great. He's beyond, completely beyond everything. How could anyone reach Him? It's impossible. He is Brihati. But He is Bringhayati. It means He is kind and gracious. So if someone surrenders to Him, He can make that person as great as Him. In other words, you can know God with His grace, but you can't know on your own.
If you can be as great as God after you surrender yourself to God, why aren't you also called a God after you surrender to God?
Because Brahma Sutra says, Bhogamatra Samya Lingacha Jagat Vyapar Varjam. After surrendering yourself to God with God's grace, how do you become as great as Him? You enjoy the equal amount of bliss as God, and you have equal amount of knowledge. However, you do not become the creator and destroyer of the world like God. So you don't become God, but you become like God, and you can experience God.
How will you experience a God if you can never become a God? Even though if you have as a knowledge as God, you cannot do anything with that knowledge if you are not a God or cannot create or destroy anything.
Well, your mind is infused with God's grace, divine power. So now you have the power to know God, the power to experience God, because God gave you the power.
Okay, so thank you so much. I think we should limit the question because
Getting late,
this is
right?
the time. So,
We could go
Swamiji, how
on.
many questions will you take now?
No, it's up to you. I'll keep taking questions as long as they want to ask them.
Sanu Babu?
Okay. Please tell your name.
How did Om get created?
Om is also eternal. It's the first sound of the universe. And it's actually an indication for formless God. So Om is eternal.
Thank you. So it is 9:05 and we'll be extending our session to 9:15. So we have 10 minutes only. So whatever question or answer will be done within that time. We appreciate that. So one online question that the viewers asked is, our community has so much fear about return of spirit or soul. So when someone dies and their rituals is not performed in a correct way, the soul will come back and haunt the family, that they need to purify again and do some yogas and puranas and everything. So how do you define that, or how do you make sure that once soul escape, it will not come back and haunt the family, asking for more purification?
So what we call Shraddh, doing the rituals and formalities after someone passes, it's a good thing to do, but the main effect is for you. The person who passed away, they have their karma that they did while they were in this life, and they're going to their next life according to that karma. Not according to what you do or don't do after their death. Now, if it's the children of a parent who passed away, sure, the parent gets some minor effect of good actions that their kids do because they taught them to do that. So they get some trickle-down effect. But mainly, all the Shraddh and everything we do, what are we doing during that time? During the whole ceremonies that go on for days, we're worshiping God. We're remembering God. So we're getting the benefit. It's helping us make the transition. This person was lost from our life. So we're coming to terms with that. We're keeping our mind in God. We're even purifying our own mind by remembering God. But we can't purify that soul. They have to remember God. Then they'll purify themselves. We can't purify someone else. So do Shraddh because it's a good thing to do. Vedas say we should do it, but it's more for us than the person who's gone.
So basically, doing all Puranas and Shraddhs, we're not helping the escaped soul.
They're
So we are
getting
just
some percentage because it's a good action. To do Shraddh is a good action. And normally it's the children who do Shraddh, right? The eldest son especially. So let's say the father passed away. The father taught their son to do that. So the father's getting some percentage of the son's good action, but it's very small. Very small. Mainly the son is getting the benefit of his good actions.
Maybe here the question is a little bit different. Like there, in our community, especially, I guess what he wants to mean is, like when somebody passes away, maybe his actions or maybe his atma or karma is affecting the family. It's affecting the family. So family has to perform some rituals or some yajnas or something to make that escape soul rest in peace or something.
No. They shouldn't worry about that. Just keep their mind in God. That's it. Don't worry about getting haunted by a spirit.
Alright, so
Here I have just one. Okay. Or I have.
Let the young kids.
He asked. Any new person? I will give you next. Any new person? Alright, so we'll have a repeat now.
My name is Pranav and I have a question. It's, have you purified yourself before?
I have purified myself to some extent, but not like Dhruv. I haven't reached 100% yet. The good thing is that you don't have to wait to 100% to know you're on the right track. Like, obviously when you see God, when you meet God, you'll know, okay, I followed the right path. I met God face to face. But along the way, even if you get some purification of your mind, you start experiencing God more vividly. So I have some experience, so I know I'm going in the right direction, but I'm not God realized. I'm not like you. I have more work to do.
Okay. You have a question? Okay, please.
I will give them one person. So you talked about like God, like how God charges our body, like the battery charging the microphone. How would you compare like that in the same sense?
So the soul, our soul is charging our body, and God is charging our soul. So when our soul leaves the body, God goes with the soul, right? God is always inside the soul. When our soul leaves our body, then the body dies. Make sense?
So is our like time or like soul on earth limited?
Yes.
Okay. So Sagarji, you have a question? Alright, so we are